Committee meetings, public session. I'm calling this meeting to order due to the challenges related to the ongoing COVID public health crisis. In-person attendance at today's meeting is limited to commissioners and Port Authority staff required to conduct the meetings. For all others, the meetings are being held virtually via teleconference. An audio broadcast of these meetings with a video of the presentations is being live streamed from the Port Authority's website. Today's public session will start with the Committee on Operations, which I will chair, followed by the Committee on Finance, which will be chaired by Commissioner Cohen. A public meeting of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution and Asset will follow, which I will also chair. We will conclude the public portion with a public board meeting. All right, let us start by stating that the Committee on Operations, which is being held in the public session in its entirety, at this point, I ask the board secretary to advise those who are present and who compose this committee and any recusals.
The committee is composed of Commissioner O'Toole, the committee chair, Commissioner Linford, the committee vice chair, and Commissioners LaBarbera, Martinotti, and McCabe. All committee members are participating in today's meeting, with the exception of Commissioner Linford. In addition, Commissioners Cohen, Eve, Horowitz, Martinotti, Menendez, Pacino, Richardson, and Rosado are also participating. There are no recusals on either matter for discussion today.
Right, thank you. For our first order of business, we're going to call our Director of Aviation and Interim Chief Operating Officer, Huntley Lawrence, and he presented an item on a new lease, Newark Liberty Cargo Building 339 and 340. Huntley.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here today to request your approval to authorize a new lease for cargo buildings 339 and 340 at Newark Liberty International Airport with Amazon Global Air. The proposed lease would provide for the redevelopment of two existing cargo buildings to transform the site into a state-of-the-art cargo complex. Next slide. Buildings 339 and 340 were built in 1996 as multi-use cargo facilities and are located on approximately 23 acres of land at the north side of Newark Liberty International Airport. Today, the roughly 250,000 square foot cargo building consists of office space, warehouses, cargo storage, which are subleased to various cargo and non-cargo tenants. In order to ensure the most efficient use of cargo facilities at Newark Liberty, the Port Authority began a competitive procurement process late last year. In August of 2020, the Port Authority issued a request for expressions of interest for the operation and maintenance of the cargo buildings. The RFEI allowed us to understand the market demand and prospective uses of the existing facilities, and 7 firms provided submissions. Following the RFEI earlier this year, the Port Authority issued a request for proposals to all 7 firms that responded to the RFEI. The RFP included basic lease provisions such as lease duration, minimum capital investment, and rental requirements, and the rental rates were established and informed by a comprehensive industry benchmark study conducted by independent consultants. 3 firms submitted proposals and were evaluated on the categories identified on this slide. Next slide. Today's request would authorize a lease with the highest rated proposal. The proposed lease with Amazon Global Air is for a 20-year base term and includes 1 5-year option to extend. Amazon Global Air is expected to invest an estimated $125 million in the facility over the term of the lease in order to transform the cargo building into a state-of-the-art cargo operation. The recommended awardee would pay building rent in the amount of $150 million in an upfront lump sum payment. This is in addition to a $157 million that would be paid to the Port Authority for ground rent over the lease term. The proposed lease would also provide economic and environmental benefits to the communities surrounding the airport. The lease would include the Port Authority's minority-owned and women-operated and owned business enterprises and service-disabled veteran-owned business enterprise goals of 20%, 10%, and 3% respectively. Additionally, the lease term requires use of a good faith effort to use local business enterprises for contracting and subcontracting opportunities. After construction is completed, Amazon estimates that its operation would support an estimated 1,000 new jobs to support the proposed development. To fill open positions, Amazon would target its hiring to local residents, as well as other residents beyond that. Supporting the Port Authority's commitment to environmental stewardship, Amazon would commit to investing in infrastructure that would support zero emissions, ground service equipment, and solar infrastructure. And the cargo buildings would be rehabilitated to meet industry-leading energy efficiency standards. The proposed timeline for the completion of the redevelopment effort is as follows. It is anticipated that the lease agreement between the Port Authority and Amazon would be executed by the fourth quarter of 2021, with construction groundbreaking commencing shortly thereafter. The construction is estimated to be completed by first quarter of 2023 to begin operations. Commissioners, pending any questions, I'm recommending that you advance this item to the full board for approval.
Thank you, Huntley. Any comments or questions from the commissioners on this item? If not, may I have a motion from a committee member not recused to move this item forward? Have a second?
So moved. Second.
Any objections? Hearing none, the motion is passed. Thank you, Huntley. Next, we call our Chief of Diversity and Inclusion, Michael Messiah, to present an item concerning a proposed discretionary procurement program in support of small contracts for minority and women-owned business enterprises. Michael, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Good afternoon. Today I'm here to discuss an item for your consideration, which is a new MWBE procurement initiative for small contractors. This item would authorize the Executive Director to directly solicit PA-certified, underutilized MBE firms through a competitive procurement process for small contracts across all procurement categories in order to close procurement disparities for any of these underrepresented race ethnic groups included in our MWBE program. Before I go into detail about this new program, I'd like to start by presenting you with a brief background and overview of our program. Our commitment to MWBEs are long-standing. It goes back as far as the building of the original World Trade Center. More recently, our board in 2018 set new MWBE participation goals of 30% across all procurement categories based upon a comprehensive disparity study. Today, our program is comprehensive and includes many of the best practices in industry. Our database includes 6,500 MWBE certified firms covering all procurement categories. Our training and capacity building programs include construction management courses that offers continuous education credits, and a construction mentor protege program, and an academy for owners of architectural and engineering firms, and an operations efficiency training program. Our compliance efforts are substantial. Per contract, we establish and then monitor goal attainment and note performance for each contract and contractor who is supposed to support subcontracting of MWBEs. This effort is supported by procurement, engineering, finance, and all the line and staff departments. Our achievements are impressive. Over $1.8 billion was awarded to MWBE firms at our LaGuardia redevelopment program so far. Additionally, $450 million to MWBE firms at our Newark Terminal A redevelopment and CONRAC program, and over $300 million of payments were made to MWBE primes and subs that perform basic Port Authority contracted activities such as state of good repair construction project, professional services, and goods and services, and various goods and services. We depend heavily on our community outreach offices in both New York and New Jersey that help provide information about business opportunities to the contracting community. While these efforts are noteworthy, a recent disparity assessment conducted between 2000 and early 2001 showed progress was made in reducing disparity for some racial ethnic groups in our program. However, it also showed a dramatic disparity for other groups when comparing their availability in a market to the prime contracts awarded. To better align our MBA utilization with their availability, we went and we did some research. We consulted with internal and external stakeholders, including experienced MWBEs, advocates, and professional organizations within the MWBE industry. We also reviewed and looked at models of best practice, such as the Metropolitan Transportation Authority's discretionary program. This research led to the development of a new MWBE procurement strategy for small contractors. This program would provide the executive director discretion and necessary flexibility to offer MWBE competitive, small prime contract procurement opportunities across all procurement categories to address this disparity. And also, it would allow for direct solicitation for these protected classes, ensuring, again, a closing of the gap. It also ensures that there will be, again, adequate procurement. I'm going to, in a minute, go through the process. One other thing it will support is the revision and update and establishment of new construction limits up to $2.5 million for construction solicitation and up to $1.5 million for other solicitations. Again, just briefly, procurement will lead this effort. It will be transparent, and we will, again, solicit those only qualified firms for these opportunities. If there isn't a sufficient number of firms, then we will go to other procurement strategies. So, commissioners, I request that you advance this item to the full board for approval, and the specific requests are noted as indicated on the slide. Again, limited to contracts up to 2.5 for construction, small contracts valued up to 1.5 for other services, and it always will require determination in each instance that there's an adequate pool of MWBE firms to perform the work. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Any commissioners have a comment or question? Okay, if not, may I have a motion, please, from a committee member who is not recused to move this forward? Second? Second.
Second.
Do you have a second? Any objections? Hearing none, the motion's passed.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, Michael. That concludes today's meeting on the Committee on Operations.